Right after Sideways came out, I took a road trip all the way up to Portland, Oregon, to attend a wedding, and then met my now ex-girlfriend, and there were a lot of them, and and then we drove all the way back. So I was able to drive through Oregon and come back through, and I just was, and I spent 4 or 5 days in Portland. I just absolutely loved the city. Everything about it, the food, the kind of the nearness of everything. You know, here we all become so localized. Like, you know, the traffic is so bad. I won't go to Hollywood unless I really have to. You know, so I really just kind of fell in love with the place. And then I did an article for Travel and Leisure Golf on golf and wine. So I got to get more out into the country, and just thought this is really what San Ynez Valley was like to me, in terms of being untrammeled, pristine. It didn't feel touristy to me at all. There was something about the people up there. They really have I guess there are a lot of refugees from the .com world and the, you know, banking world and the hedge fund you know, and they've got their little plot of land, and they're just making the wine because they love it. You know, they're making artisanal wines. I know there are big wineries there, and everybody wants to make a profit, but I got the sense that it was an avocation for a lot of people. It was and that was a little bit different in San Ynez to me, where it's grown maybe just a tad more commercial. So I'm always drawn to the anti-commercial. I'm the rural beauty. That's because that's what I discovered in the early '90s when I went to San Ynez. You'd go to the tasting rooms, and they didn't cost anything, and there was nobody in there. San Ynez Valley is beautiful, but the Willamette Valley is incredibly beautiful, and I'm really into food. I'm really into cooking, and I love the whole locavore thing, vibe that's going on up there. Portland to me is a way better city than LA. You know, I'd live there if I didn't have to be here for film things or whatever. I think it's a great city. I just fell in love with the whole place. So, but it also, I didn't want to do a retread with a Sideways sequel. You know, it had to be something more than a retread. You know, because I could do the whole Hope Crosby thing. Miles and Jack go to Rioja. Miles and Jack go to Australia. You know, I mean, I can just play that game, you know, and probably make a lot of money. But I'm really, you know, I'm not about that as a writer, number one. And number two, wine for me in Sideways was really a backdrop, but it became the forefront when everyone profited a lot, and I just get associated with wine and everything else. But it just seemed natural that Miles, who's a complete Pinot freak, we remember his famous speech in the movie, where he rhapsodizes about Pinot, and he still does rhapsodize about it. And the Willamette Valley, a lot of people don't realize, is on the same latitude as Burgundy. They're planted in 2/3 Pinot Noir, which is way more than any region, including Sonoma, Monterey, and even San Ynez Valley are only like maybe 20-30%. You guys are 2/3 planted in Pinot Noir, so it just seems like it's natural. And then, of course, the International Pinot Noir celebration, a 3-day bacchanal, or at least as I depict it, is, you know, it just seems like Miles has to go. But I really wanted to celebrate wineries that were very small, wines that maybe never get out of Oregon, as opposed to the big guns like Archery Summit, who make wonderful wines, and Ponzi and Patricia Green. They were great winemakers. But they, you know, it doesn't matter what wines I chose, but you know, it's really a celebration of the Willamette Valley. It's a celebration of what you do best, which is Pinot Noir. Literally, that grape, you have embraced that thing hook, line, and sinker. You know, to me, it's almost like an analog to writing or to making film or any kind of art. You know, it can just be the pits, or it can just be utterly levitational, truly. And that's what Pinot is, where the other wines seem to fall. You know, I know people, there are great Bordeaux's, and there are great Barolos, and great aged Riojas and all that, but Pinot really fits into that category, being either really bad or just pornographically good. I wrote a screenplay in the early 90s, in 92, called The Road Back, and it was about a young music video director whose mother has a stroke like mine, and who is sort of drawn into his family's life, and through a series of circumstances, he ends up on the road with her and a caretaker and a rascally Yorkie Terrier en route to Wisconsin from San Diego. The script was much admired. It was never made. It was optioned for 5 years, never made. Sort of a banal Hollywood story. After Sideways hit, the movie, and we won all these awards after the Oscars, everybody wanted me to do something. They wanted me to write TV. They wanted me, you know, funny as money, Rex, funny as money, you know. They wanted me to write films, do adaptations. But my publishing agent, now a new publishing agent, he, of course, they're all trying to sell me. And I said, I don't know what I want to do next. I really don't know what I want to do. And he said, what about that script you wrote, The Road Back? He's just trying to sell anything, I realize now. why don't you novelize it? And I said, I don't want to rake over old bones. It was written 12 years ago. And so I decided that I wanted the mother-son story. I had an idea, and it would be Miles and his mother. So it really goes back to 92. So Vertical now it's 7 years later. Miles is now a successful author. A film has been made of his book, and he's a celebrity in the wine world. So it's really book within a book in many ways. Jack, of course, is divorced. We knew that wasn't going to last. And has a kid and sort of on the skids, really. And Miles's mother's had a stroke like my mom. So this goes back to the screenplay of early 90s. I've brought it all in, and it's all kind of dovetailing now into the Sideways sequel. And so when Miles gets offered to be the master of ceremonies, as I was, at the International Pinot Noir celebration, ultimately I had to turn him down, he hatches this kind of harebrained plan, and his mother wants to be with her sister in Wisconsin because she hates the assisted living facility she's in. So Miles rents a handicap ramp van, and he piles in Jack as his co-pilot and pays him money, and they hire a pot-smoking Filipina caretaker, and in a hilarious scene, they get Miles's mother's dog, her Yorkie Terrier, from a former girlfriend of Miles's who was supposed to make visits there but wasn't, whatever, and all 4.5 of them, if you will, get in this ramp van and head to Oregon from San Diego en route to Wisconsin. It's the ultimate road novel. I just hope, Vertical, and if it's made into a movie, doesn't destroy it the way, well, some people say it hasn't destroyed it. It's made a lot of people millionaires in the San Ynez Valley. Maybe there are a lot of people in the Willamette Valley hoping it will, do well for them. And I hope it does. It's a beautiful region, and if I had to, put on the cowbell and retire, I'd probably move up there. It's God's truth.